welcome everyone. Today we will learn step-by-step SPSS data analysis with a statistical test, the chi-square test of independence. We will learn the test with a research example and its data. From the research example, we will first state the research hypothesis and then analyze the data in SPSS step by step to test the hypothesis and finally report the result and findings. At the end of this video, there is an exercise and you can download the SPSS data for the exercise and practice your data analysis skill. Everything will be very simple and very easy to understand. So let's start. Before analyzing the data, we should understand the concept of chi-square test of independence. The chi-square test of independence is used to determine if there is a significant relationship between two nominal or ordinal scale variables. Nominal and ordinal scale variables are categorical variables. For example, gender is a categorical variable because it has two categories, male and female. The function of the chi-square test of independence is to examine whether two variables are independent or not. The chi-square test can only tell us whether two variables are related to one another. It does not imply that which variable is an independent variable and which one is the dependent variable. Thus, the research design for this chi-square test of independence is non-causal relationship design. Chi-square test is calculated based on frequency of respondents in each category in the variables. With the chi-square test, the frequency of each category in first variable is compared across the categories of the second variable. For example, the test is used to examine the relationship between gender, which is labeled 1 equal to male, 2 equal to female, and learning attitude, labeled as 1 equal to negative and 2 equal to positive. The following is an example research of data analysis using the chi-square test of independence. In this example, a researcher reviewed the Yeats-Dodson law by psychologists Robert Yeats and John Dillingham-Dodson that stress affects performance in a bell shape, where stress has a positive effect at moderate level and negative effects at low and high level. Thus, the researcher conducted research to investigate if there is a relationship between stress and performance. The respondents are 80 students randomly selected from a student population of a university. In this research, there are two variables. The first variable is performance with two categories, low and high performance. It's a nominal scale variable. And the second variable, stress, with three categories, low, moderate, and high stress, is an ordinal scale variable. The objective of the research is to examine the relationship between stress and performance. The research question is there any relationship between stress and performance? Performance and stress are connected with a double-headed arrow to show the non-causal relationship between the two variables in the conceptual framework of this research. In data collection, the researcher selects randomly a sample consisting of 80 students from final year student population of a university. He measures stress and performance of the respondent in the research sample using a stress test and a performance test. For stress, he labeled the respondent who had low stress with number 1, moderate stress with number 2, and high stress with number 3. Besides that, he labeled respondents who have low performance with number 1 and high performance with number 2. The data is tabulated, and we will use this data for data analysis in SPSS. Before analyzing the data, the researcher needs to state the research hypothesis for hypothesis testing. In this research, the null hypothesis is there is no significant relationship between stress and performance among the final year students in the university. The research hypothesis is there is a significant relationship between stress and performance among the final year students in the university. In hypothesis testing, if the p-value of the chi-square test is larger or equal to 0.05, the null hypothesis is true. However, if the chi-square test results show that the p-value is smaller than 0.05, then the research hypothesis is true. We will then reject the null hypothesis. This concept must be very clear before we analyze the data in SPSS. The assumptions of the chi-square test are: the sample is randomly selected from its population. The categories of the variable must be independent. The two variables are measured as categories in either nominal or ordinal scale data. The expected frequency value of each category is at least 5. There is no assumption for normality of data. Hence, there is no need to run a normality test for the data. Now, we will analyze the data using the SPSS. Before analyzing the data, we need to enter it into SPSS. First, we put the data in Microsoft Word at the left side. Then we put the SPSS at the right side. To label the variable names, click the Variable View button. Then type the two variable names, stress and performance. Only one word is allowed for a variable name. Highlight the two variable names. Right-click and select Copy. Then highlight the two rows at the label column. Right-click and select Paste to paste them. This is to label the variables at the label columns. Then we move to the value column. For stress, click at the right side of the cell, type 1 for low, and click the Add button to move it into the box. Type 2 for moderate, and click the Add button. Then type 3 for high, and click the Add button. With this step, we have labeled the three categories for stress. For performance, there are two categories, one for low and two for high. Click at the right side of the cell, type 1 for low, and click the Add button. Then type 2 for high and click the Add button. With this, we have labeled the categories for performance. The value of the two variables are completely labeled. Then we move to the measure column. Threat is an ordinal skill data, where the three categories are ranked from the lowest level to highest level. So we select ordinal. Performance only have two categories. It is a nominal skill data, so we select nominal. With this, we have successfully labeled the column needed in variable view. To enter the data, click the Data View button. The two variables we have labels are in the data view. To enter the data, move to the data in Microsoft Word. Highlight the data of the two variables. Right-click and select Copy. Then move back to SPSS. Click the first cell, right-click and select Paste to paste the data. The data is ready for analysis now. Before analyzing the data, let me enlarge the SPSS screen